Alright, so when you think of somebody who is old and wise, full of life experience, who do you think of? Well, the first person who came to my mind was Gandalf the Grey. Call me a nerd, whatever. I'm about to go nerdy on you guys, for sure. Or on you. But, basically, Gandalf, he was a wizard in The Lord of the Rings, written by J.R.R. Tolkien. He was created to defeat Sauron, who was like some big bad guy trained under a dark angel, the usual. Yeah, he was tasked to fight Sauron and defeat him. Um, and basically, the quote that I chose from him was, "Many that live deserve death, and some that die deserve life. Can you give it to them? Then do not be too eager to deal out death in judgment." And when he says this, he's talking about this, kind of creature named Gollum. He used to be like a man, I guess, or a hobbit, if you know what that is. Hobbits are like smaller people, like a halfling. They have hairy feet. Anyways, besides the point. So he he was like obsessed with the ring that Sauron had, and it over time corrupted him and changed his body. He became a creepy, hunched over guy. He was obsessed with the ring. And at this point, he was following the Fellowship who had the ring. So he was like kind of chasing after him to get the ring back. And so basically, this particular quote from Gandalf, it really, it really hit hard for me because like when you read it, it talks about like you can't be too eager to deal out judgment. Like obviously the whole death part doesn't apply to like every situation, but um, yeah, you can't be too quick to deal out judgment because you really have no idea what people have gone through, what they've lived through, their life experiences, everything. So I think to this whole situation, there are a bunch of metaphors to like real life. For example, Gollum, he was not always a scary, weird, creepy looking dude. He was, at one point, a normal looking, like normal because he was a halfling, he was small, but he was a normal hobbit. He loved history and everything. He, the only thing he ever had to worry about was just like living in a hobbit hole and having a full belly. But once this ring was found, it drove him to murder his lifelong friend, which, normally you wouldn't do. So, it was not really under his control. It was like, the ring is magical. It makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. Um, so I kind of related the ring actually to social media and like pressure to conform to like the society's norms, because like the ring, it really had a powerful hold on Gollum or Smeagol's life. Like it basically influenced what he did for the rest of his life. And you kind of see that in like today, because like so many people are so worried about like their self-image and like what other people are going to think about them, that like they base what they do on like what other people are going to think about it. Like they don't do things for themselves normally, and like that's just kind of sad. That's kind of what Gollum was like. He wasn't worried about what other people were going to think about him, but he had something that had a hold on him and like really changed what who he was, which is sad. We should be happy about who we are, and we should uh, celebrate our differences, basically. But yeah. So I related the ring to societal pressure, basically to conform, and social media. The social media part being that um, that like there's a lot of people online that are rude, and like it really brings someone down, and it can really change who you are as well. And back to the quote, it all it talks about you shouldn't judge people. And so I this is like the part that really hit like hard with me is because like I think every day like it's really hard not like to look at somebody not like judge them, right? And so like yeah, with you know people if they aren't like conforming to your norms, it's like oh you know um you kind of look down on them or something. And that's kind of what was happening in the situation where Frodo, who was the one asking Gandalf about Smeagol, he was saying it was a pity that Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance, and then Gandalf was like, "What? Well, was it pity that stayed his hand?" Like I don't know. You just really it's hard to like understand a person unless you live through their experiences, and so like that's kind of the whole point I'm trying to get after is like you don't know anything about a person until you know what they've been through. And it's really hard, in fact, it's impossible to judge somebody correctly unless you know that. And so basically, yeah, when I first read this quote, the uh, the first thing that hit hard with me was, you can't judge people. You have no idea what's going on in their life, and you should try to look at everybody with an open mind. No matter how hard it is, no matter how weird they look, or I mean, Gollum was a weird looking, creepy guy. So like it would be really hard not to look at him or to look at him and be like, I feel bad for that guy. Like that he's creepy and kind of evil sometimes, but he was also a sad being because he really had no control over what he did. And also, just when I looked further into this quote, like I just kind of started to think that the ring really is a representation of societal pressure to conform to the norms and everything. And like, I don't know, I just made those two connections.